Wow, Dazn is reportedly in a dispute with Gennady. Had no guys and Max. Everybody, big drama. Gennady Golovkin over his selection of opponents. That's what the reports are saying. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Listen, do yourself a favor, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. I drop the illest boxing content, all things boxing, some UFC. We have a great time here. If you enjoy boxing in its beauty and all its splendor, smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Now, we got to talk about Gennady Golovkin. Had no guys, Max. He been real low. What is that, Triple G juice? What is he drinking? He got his thumbs up, but Dazn is apparently saying thumbs down. Boxing reporter, I'll put the link in the description. Ryan says, sources, former unified and current middleweight titleist Gennady Triple G Golovkin is in a dispute with his network Dazn over opponents. It says the streaming service is trying to force a title unification between Triple G and Demetrius Andrade, #boxing. Wow. Now, if it happens, that's great news for Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. Now listen, Dazn should have made this move a long time ago. The amount they were reportedly paying Triple G was like it was in the stratosphere of like $15 to $18 million. All of Triple G's fights outside of the Derevyanchenko fight, to me, on Dazn have been horrible. He does no promotion, like in terms of he's not a Floyd Mayweather, he's not Jake or Logan Paul, he's not an Adrian Broner, he's not a Conor McGregor. Who the fuck is that? I know that you're tanking. He doesn't promote in that, like, you know, worst case scenario, whether you like, even like I said, even the Jake Pauls of the world and Logan Paul, whether you like them or not, they know their way around the net and they know how to gotcha hat or do these little charades and showmanship stuff to get attention or bring attention to their event. Like, I'm looking forward to Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. I'm just being real with you. Triple G doesn't give you that. He's an accomplished amateur, and it looks like he's just taking Dazon's cake. So even though this is still in the rumor phase and sources phase, it's something that I believe, because Dazn should be in this mode. They did it to Canelo. Payday. You want payday. I ain't know that. I was born ready. They did it to Canelo Alvarez. So Canelo, right before the lawsuit, before it became public that he was suing Dazn, they were unhappy with his opponent selection, and they deemed Canelo, the guys he was trying to fight, you know, it doesn't really make sense, but the guys he was trying to fight, they said they weren't premier opponents or premium opponents, and they said Caleb Smith wasn't a fight they're interested. Then he sues him, gets out of his Golden Boy contract, and then they make Canelo Caleb Smith, right? And then they made Avni Yildirim, which, again, it doesn't make sense if you said Caleb Smith and Kovalev and Jacobs weren't premium opponents, but then when he sued Golden Boy, parted ways, you brought him back under your platform and paid him a lot of money. It just was the absence of Golden Boy. And then now, all of a sudden, you know, these are deemed premium opponents. That doesn't make sense to me. But regarding Triple G, if you look at all of his fights on Dazn, the Derevyanchenko was the only fight to me that was like a worthy type of an opponent. And that's the fight where he should have lost. So he really shouldn't even be a champion. Like, he really lost that fight. You had a lot of fighters in the crowd that watched the fight and said the same thing. So I'm not surprised by this. Triple G, he looks like he's just trying to wait around for big money fights. They were talking about him fighting Ryota Murata in December on New Year's Eve. I guess New Year's Eve is real big over in Japan. And they were talking about him doing a tune-up until then to stay safe. I mean, it's just pathetic. You got to look at this as the guy that HBO built up, and they said he was a monster in Kazakhstan Thunder. And old media puts no pressure on guys like Triple G to make for scintillating fights. That's why when people were coming in my comment section and they were saying push for Charlo and Andrade and stuff like that, I'm not doing that on my page, because here's the thing. What we do know, boxing is a business. If Eddie Hearn has the career of Triple G and Demetrius Andrade, and he was working with Canelo, and all these guys are in-house on DAZN, and they're not giving you any of the matches that people are clamoring for, and they're all in-house, then why you want me to stress Charlo versus Andrade and make that a thing when that's inherently harder to make because of different promotional ties and entities and backgrounds and stuff? So a company needs to first do right. That's like me making fun of your lawn and say, hey, you need to cut the grass. And then I got weeds and tumbleweeds and all types of stuff in my garden, or my grass is this tall. You know, that doesn't make sense. The DAZN curse continues. Ego Stradamus continues. Ego Stradamus strikes again. Triple G, he's been on the same platform as Caleb Smith, Billy Joe Saunders when they were undefeated. Canelo fought them. Not Head Knock Guys and Mox, right? Not Triple G. Canelo. So if you look at it, Canelo is the one that they said wasn't fighting premium opponents, but there's some suspect people in there. But you have to admit, he fought Jacobs, Caleb Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, right? Those are all top rated guys in the top 5, top 10 of the division. Triple G fought Steve Rolls. Who is that? He fought Camille Sesmeta, and I think he stopped him in the 7th round. Jaime Munguia just fought the same guy, much younger, not being an Olympic silver medalist, and he stopped him a round quicker. He stopped him a round quicker a couple days ago, right? So how do you have a silver medalist and he was like chopping him up, nasty uppercuts and stuff like that? I like Jaime Munguia. Shout out to Jaime. But you got Triple G, and he's being exposed in this regard. You don't want to fight nobody. You know, instead of Charlo and Andrade, what about Triple G and Charlo? Because Charlo called out Canelo, and he called out Triple G, and he's been calling him out. You know what I mean? So for me, I think DAZN, they should have been on this hype. And ironically enough, Ego Stradamus strikes again. I told you, it doesn't make sense to pay Triple G $15 million for the likes of Steve Rolls. The world of boxing wasn't looking for that or checking for that fight, or Camille Sesmeta, and hide it under the guise of, oh, it's a mandatory. At the end of the day, content is king. And this has to show you that DAZN is now trying to come to their senses, and they must be losing money, because if they're having a dispute, as is being reported, which sounds very believable, and they're trying to push for a tougher fight because they're like, man, you know, if we're going to be paying you the big bucks, you got to produce. Like, I knew this was going to come to this particular spot, because how are you going to pay somebody $15-18 million for lackluster fights and, in all honesty, lackluster performances? Triple G has not, his HBO days, if you look at his best HBO performances, none of his DAZN fight performances match up to the HBO days, because on HBO he was getting emphatic, quick knockouts, and then when he stepped up in competition, he was in pretty good fights, like with Danny Jacobs and Canelo. So it is apparent at age 39 or whatever age he is, pushing 40, Triple G is looking like he's just trying to go after the bag. He's not trying to get his hands really dirty. It's like the manager at your job who has been with your job for so long, and he don't want to do the grunt work. He don't want to get on he has all his licenses to get on the cash register or operate the heavy machinery and the forklifts, but he don't want to move a muscle. You know what I mean? He thinks like, oh, I got seniority or whatever, so, you know, I don't have to get on the forklift. Somebody else do it. You know what I mean? And that's how Triple G has like this Karen entitled type of attitude where he don't want to fight tough fights. Meanwhile, you see old media they don't put any pressure on Triple G to fight. Like, Triple G was in talks to fight Jaime Munguia. I know this from a personal source, you know, close to the situation. And then the Munguia fight fell apart. And then Munguia's next 2-3 opponents kept pulling out and all that. And then he finally just fought the guy Triple G just fought, Camille Sesmeta, and beat him quicker, right? Triple G has to give the world of boxing something. If not, relinquish your belt, retire, do whatever you got to do. But especially when you're getting paid the big bucks, it doesn't make sense financially from a fan perspective for DAZN to be forking out there. So it sounds like they listening to your boy Ego. Quiet as kept, Ego Stradamus strikes again. It sounds like they listening to your boy Ego, because this is all of what I've said. Now they're trying to come to the table and finally make Triple G versus Andrade, because they know they losing money by making lackluster matches with Steve Rose and Camille Sesmeta. You're not going to win like that. And then the best fight that you see on the screen with Derevyanchenko was the fight he lost, and he never granted him a rematch. And it took for a black fighter, Jermall Charlo, to beat Derevyanchenko convincingly in his very next fight. Man, let me know what you guys think. It looks like the walls are closing in. DAZN is asking for more of a premium opponent now for Triple G, just like they did with Canelo. Use my link in the description to get TUBEBUDDY. TUBEBUDDY is an awesome browser extension to help you make money on this YouTube platform. Let me know what you think of my assessment. Click my link to use TUBEBUDDY. The walls are now closing in on Mr. Golovkin. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, signing off.